Do you feel like your body has changed overnight, you guys? Like your energy, your metabolism, and your mood is just totally different. You're really, really, really not imagining it because today we are unpacking what's really happening behind the scenes with your hormones and how food can become your greatest ally with Dr. Kate Dwyer. Yay! Dr. Kate Dwyer is a functional nutritionist and clinical dietitian who helps women feel at home in their bodies through science-backed personalized nutrition, which I need this like every single day of my life. So from decoding perimenopause to mastering hormones, she's going to walk you through every step to a vibrant womanhood. So don't miss it. Plus, stay till the end because you are going to want to hear about the literal most important nutrient in your body, according to Dr. Dwyer, which is choline. And there may be other ones too.
Yes. I love
and
some
why
choline.
Yes, and why you need it. So wait till the end of the episode to start on that. And if y'all don't know me, I'm Dr. Ellie. My practice is Middle Path Integrative Pediatrics. I'm based in Asheville, North Carolina. So if you're in and around there and you are 0 to 21 or you're a parent of someone 0 to 21 and you need that, come and find me. Or if you need functional medicine and you're either a kid or adult, come and find me for that. So welcome, Dr. Kate Dwyer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ellie.
You're welcome. So I was fascinated by your career journey because you have literally done it all. You began in biochemistry, you did clinical research, and then now you're doing, functional nutrition and all of that. So like, what inspired your journey? How did it shape the way you practice? And kind of ending up where you are now with like optimizing women's health and all of that.
Yeah, that's such a great question. So I started out getting a bachelor's degree in biochemistry and then working in academic and clinical labs. So shout out to all the research that's being done out there because that's hard stuff. Um,
Hard work.
Hard
Yes.
work. So, and I came to realize that maybe that wasn't for me. And I had always been intrigued by nutrition, done a lot of reading, and wanted to pursue a different career. So I pivoted and went back to school to be a dietitian. And also during that time, I had some, health issue come up. Like I started reacting to some food and I didn't know what that
Mhm.
was. So I sought out, I had a friend who had just joined a functional medicine practice as a PA. And I was like, okay, I'm going to come over and I'm going to see you. So she was like, she ran some blood tests and I came back. I had a huge sensitivity to eggs.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So eliminated eggs, started feeling so much better energy, um, less fatigue, less bloating. My stomach pain went away. My labs improved. Just like the stress of having a food reaction in your body. Um,
Mhm.
and then, when I did start my dietetics path, I knew I wanted to do a certain master's degree. And that master's degree was in human nutrition and functional medicine. And so I went back, did a second bachelor's, did an internship, all with the idea of going through this master's program. And then once I did that master's program, they added on a doctorate in clinical nutrition. And I was like, okay, like, uh, I'm going to do this. And my husband's like, you have to have a terminal degree too. So like, you can't just keep on going back to school at this point. Um, so yeah, so that's where I
Yeah.
ended up. And then, also as a woman navigating life and interacting with the medical community, I just realized what a huge hole there is in
Yeah.
education for women and women's health issues and what is normal, what is not normal. Um, it's just the education piece, helping women with body literacy, like what is actually going on in their bodies. But also like, nutrition is so underrated for helping women come alongside their other medical providers and treating whatever condition they're dealing with.
Yeah, and I just want to put like a fine point on a couple of things you said because I think they're so important. Like, first of all, it's so interesting how so many of us end up in these like kind of, I don't know if you want to call them alternative careers, but like maybe like more holistically mindseted mindset type
Yeah.
careers because it's like, you know, you end up in one thing and then you have an experience like a lived experience yourself and then you're stuck in a system that's like not the best or you've done research, you know, I did research too and you're like, okay, well, good on for all the researchers, but I am
Yeah.
clearly not a researcher. You know, it's like I spent 2 years doing embryology and a year in the cardiovascular lab cutting up like well, not to be gross, but like aortas. Anyway,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was like not for me. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm talking to fish, like gotta move on. And then to
Right.
your point, like the lived experience of going through, you know, like I have celiac and I
Mhm.
actually kind of similarly was feeling awful, like so bad. And I was like, this was 2020, I can tell you because it was COVID. And I was like exhausted and I was like having heart palpitations and I was like,
Mhm.
something is not okay. I cannot get off the couch. And you can see how much energy I have. Like, I mean, I'm normally ready to go and do like 10 million things. So my husband's looking at me like, you're kind of being a little lazy. Like I've cooked meals like for 3 months now and I'm like, I can't move. So I call my PCP and I'm like, hey, listen, like I feel like crap. Can we just like run some laps? And sadly, that particular person was like, I think you're depressed. And I was like, I don't think I am, but cool. And now I have to go find a new PCP, which luckily, you know, I'm a doctor. So I was able to find one and I have some medical literacy. So obviously I was able to discern that that was not my
Mhm.
issue. But yeah, getting all of those health issues resolved and just getting off of gluten and feeling so much better and realizing like there's a different way of doing things. It's so important. And also
Mhm.
medical literacy. Let me tell you, when I was in med school, the literal amount that I learned about women's health was like this much. Like it was so small. It was like, okay, this is when people like get their periods
Mhm.
and like, you know, if they happen to get pregnant, then just like, you know, refer them out to OBGYN and hopefully you don't have to know much about that ever. And then people are going to have menopause. And you were like, all right. So and that's it. So, like,
Yeah.
good on you for, like, getting that information out to the community.
Yeah. Yeah. And, too, like in my practice, I see clients for an hour. So we have
Yeah,
a lot of time to go through that versus like the
yeah.
15 minutes, the
So
standard.
I kinda yes, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about that. Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, I know that this is your specialty, perimenopause, women's health, all of that, but I wanna just talk about, like, okay, there's carnivore, there's plant-based, there's keto, there's low carb, there's I don't know if there's high carb, who knows? There probably is. There's 10 million quote unquote diets out there. So like, you know, do people ever feel like they just don't even know what to eat? Like what are some of the nutrition mistakes that you see like people making during perimenopause and like women's health in
Mm.
general? And like what does it even mean to eat healthy anymore?
Right. Yeah. So that's a really good question because I think the idea of healthy has been hijacked by the food industry. And like
Uh-huh.
our idea of healthy has been misconstrued by that. It's so we have to kind of redefine what healthy is. And I'll tell you right off the bat, healthy is not the sexy diet. Like healthy is the boring diet.
Yeah.
Um, you know, like what is unprocessed food, minimally processed food, versus ultra processed food. We know that for most Americans, ultra processed food makes up 50 to 70% of their diet,
Mhm.
right? Um,
Mhm.
we also know that 97% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. Like what we know what, one of the main culprits is, and I don't mean to, demonize people or make people feel like they have to go on a strict diet, but maximizing, focusing on those fruits and vegetables, the whole grains, the nuts and seeds, the legumes, and meat, if that's something you choose, and dairy products as well. That makes the healthiest diet. And I'll say this is that anytime we um, follow a diet that excludes a major food group, we run the risk of nutrient deficiencies, and that can really
Mhm.
hurt our long term health.
Yeah, and there's something about, like I don't know if you've had this experience, Kate, but I hope you don't mind if I call you Kate. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
default to
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, I'll try and call you Dr. Dwyer, but, since I know you. Okay, there's something about Whole Foods, like, you're in, like, Whole Foods with your cart, and you're like, "I'm so healthy, like, I'm in Whole Foods," you know what I mean? And then the cart just starts turning towards, like, the pre-cooked pizza aisle because it smells so good, and then you see, like, ooh, the granola bars that, like, all say, like,
Mhm,
they're super healthy with, like, whatever flashy, like,
mhm.
simple ingredients, top 5, I don't know, and you're like, "Oh, I'm so healthy," and then you look on the back, you take it home, and you're like, "This has, like, 14 grams of sugar in 1 bar,"
Yeah,
and you didn't even know you ate that.
right, you don't know, yeah, and just for reference, 4 grams of sugar equals a teaspoon, so that gives you more of a visualization about how much sugar you're eating.
Yeah, and
So
in
that's
kids,
like
it's
3
like
over
4
3
teaspoons or less a day.
yeah,
4
yeah,
teaspoons, that's what you want, and most of us are,
yeah,
like, giving, unwittingly, maybe our kid has 2 granola bars and then something with, like, maple syrup and something with, I don't know, like, a little bowl of ice cream, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, now we're, like,
yeah.
heading towards diabetes and heart disease," which I will say in my work, sadly, I didn't used to see when I first started, I didn't used to see, like, type 2 diabetes. For those of you that you don't know, that's typically when people are having lifestyle related issues to having a body mass index that's a little bit too high, causing their blood sugars to not regulate well. And so
Mhm.
it used to be that we would see that a lot in older people, and now I'm seeing it in kids too. And so we
Yeah.
have to be so careful because nobody intentionally is making
Mhm.
these choices for their children, for
No.
the most part. I mean, there's probably a
Mm-mm.
couple people in the world, but that's everybody. There's always somebody who's a little different. But most people are trying to do their best. So, like, okay,
Yeah.
like, let's say I go to the store, like, what should I do instead? Okay, so, like, I'm a busy mom. I am working 2 jobs. My husband's working. I've got 3 kids, and I've got 20 minutes to make dinner, make the lunch for tomorrow, and pack some snacks. Can you give
Oh,
us some,
yeah.
like, granular advice?
So what I tell my clients is, we want to think about back pocket meals. Like, what can you pull out
Okay.
of your back pocket? Like, and when you're in a bind or when you have low time to prepare.
Yeah.
So, part of that could be, meal prepping ahead of time
Oh, yeah.
and having
Love a
some
meal
things.
prep.
Yeah, like if you're using like a crock pot is an awesome way to that. But if that's not the case, um, look at rotisserie chickens. Like you can
Love a rotisserie
rotisserie chicken.
chicken.
It's a
Yeah.
shortcut. The meat honestly is usually what takes the longest to cook. Um, so rotisserie chicken, you can then, sweep by the freezer section, pick up some frozen rice. You get some beans, some salsa, some guac, some lettuce. You can have a burrito bowl or even like, change it up and do tacos like 10
Yes.
minutes, right?
That's so good. That way I can
Right.
just bypass that tortilla chip aisle and go
Yeah.
straight to, like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about frozen rice. Hello. So
Yeah. It's
smart.
like they sell it at most grocery stores. Um, Definitely underrated. You can also get like frozen potatoes too. Just watch how much sodium is in there if that's something that you gotta watch out for.
Okay. So, like,
But
your
those
blood
are like
pressure's
really
high, you're
easy.
like, "I
Yeah.
can't really be doing a lot of sodium." Yeah, you don't wanna
Yeah.
be doing that. Okay. All right, so just to clarify, it's not that we should, like, all of a sudden be like beach body diet and,
Hmm.
like, one day we're eating plant-based and one day unless we're, like, having a moral objection, and one day we're doing carnivore and the next day we're doing low carb. Like, we need all our food groups, yeah?
Yeah. We need all our food groups. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I think too, because I do have times where I need to exclude, like, if
Hmm.
someone is having celiac or someone's having lactose intolerance. It's like you do have to exclude those things because they're, like, making you sick, kinda like the eggs did,
Yeah.
but to your point, we need to add in the other nutrients, the macronutrients, like your protein, fat, and carbs. Is there one more? Veggie? Is that a
No.
macronutrient?
No. I think maybe
Tell me again.
fiber is what you're thinking. It's like a subcategory of
Fiber.
carbohydrates. And
Yes.
90% of Americans are deficient in fiber. Like they don't get enough fiber, which is yeah, it's kind of ironic because most, like, I think gastrointestinal issues are one of the highest, or one of the most recent the reason why most Americans seek medical attention is for gastrointestinal
Oh my
issues.
God. You know what?
Yeah.
I just have to say, people are not pooping. Like, people are not pooping right now. I mean, I have not seen anything like it. Like, the other day, I had someone come to me that their child hadn't pooped in 14 days. 14 days. Like, no, no,
Hmm.
no. We need to be pooping at least every day, if not a couple
Yeah.
times a day. Poop is good. We
Yeah.
need to
Poop
embrace
is
poop.
good. If you're pooping, um, that shows like a regulated nervous system, right? Because we can get more into that. It also shows that your body is eliminating toxins because you eliminate through
Mhm,
bile, and bile then becomes part of your stool, and that gets eliminated. And then, two, it also shows like a good healthy gut, and gut health is the foundation of all health. If you don't
mhm,
have a
mhm,
healthy gut, so many other things can go wrong. Blood sugar issues, um, brain health, another huge
mhm,
one, bone
mhm.
health, like osteoporosis. Like I know we're talking about um, midlife women too, but if we want our kids to grow healthy bones, we need them to also have healthy guts. We need it
Mhm.
for, um, eh, you know, um, muscle too. Like if we have leaky gut, we have inflammation, it's going to be harder to make that muscle. It's harder to have that energy too. So, gut health is the window to all health.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think what you're talking about, which, like, I'll link all my pods to this, but the adrenal, gut, immune, detox axis
Yeah.
slash hormone axis, like, it's
Yes,
all
exactly.
related. So it's like if we're stressed out, then
Mhm,
what happens? Like, we're pumping out epinephrine and norepinephrine, which are
mhm.
adrenaline. We're pumping out cortisol, which
Oh,
is like a stress hormone, and then our immune system dips, and then we're getting
mhm.
hidden infections in the gut,
Yeah.
and then we're getting leaky gut, and then
Yes.
what happens is our immune system reacts, and it's
Yeah.
overwhelmed, we can't detox, and then what happens? Our hormones get off. So, okay, so let's talk about that because many women, I mean, I have totally been there, like in my head, I'm not gonna lie, in their 40s and 50s. So I'm 46 in full disclosure. We feel like our metabolism has like broken. Like, if we
Mm.
eat more than, a meal and a half, a celery stick and a piece of lettuce a day, we're putting on weight. So like what is going on? What is happening? How can we adapt? What do we need to do?
Yeah, so I think, several things are going on, when we have these hormone related drops, or it could be fluctuations. And with that, we have that causes other hormones to fluctuate, like cortisol. Um, you mentioned before, and
Mhm.
cortisol also really affects insulin and blood sugar regulation. And we know that drops in estrogen also correlate with higher insulin resistance. Um,
Mm.
so it's not necessarily about eating less, it's about eating and fueling smarter. We also know that dips in estrogen can affect blood flow to the brain. It can affect dopamine synthesis, our neurotransmitter. It can affect energy levels. And so I think, data shows that BMR stays the same. So basal metabolic rate doesn't really change that much during
Okay.
perimenopause.
Okay.
But what does change a lot is what something else called non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And basically that's just a fancy word for saying
What is
like
that? Okay, wait, 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 wait.
uh,
Let's say that again. Non-exercise
exercise activity
induced activity thermogenesis.
thermogenesis. And it's part of,
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Okay. All right.
yeah.
Tell us more.
So if we're looking at like all the ways that we burn calories throughout the day, we have the basal metabolic rate, and that's just how many calories it makes for your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, like just functions. Like if you're just in bed all day, like what do you need to stay alive? That's your basal metabolic rate. And then
Okay.
we have something, and then we have exercise, right? Like intentional exercise. Um, but then we also have something called non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And this is just how many calories we burn doing like chasing your kid, walking from the grocery store, from your car into the grocery store. Um, if you're a fidgeter, that's also non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
I never
If you're,
fidget. I never
yeah,
do it.
yeah, never fidget. Um, and we know, like, if we're tired, we're not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do, I'm going to fold that laundry. I'm going to sweep the floor. I'm going to, or, I'm saying all these tasks that typically um, right, that typically women do. But we know that, you're probably not going to be chasing your kid as much. You may be indulging a little bit more in Netflix, um, or
Mm-hmm.
reading books, or, just wanting to be more relaxed and on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like the big change that I see in my clients, is that that energy level that once was there is not, or maybe you're not sleeping well too, right? If we're not sleeping
Yes.
well, we're just not going to have that energy. So going back and working, okay, looking at sleep, like how can we optimize sleep? What are we doing to sleep? Do we have, if we're having blood sugar issues, is our blood sugar dropping, then causing us to wake up in the middle of the night? Maybe we have a pelvic floor issue. I know you talked to Dr. Carrie Tobin the other day.
Yes.
So excited to see that.
Amazing.
But if you're waking up more than twice during the night to urinate, like that might be a sign to go visit a pelvic floor therapist. So,
Mm-hmm.
identifying the reasons why you're not sleeping well, huge, huge, huge into um, having a good metabolism. We also just want to address any kind of insulin sensitivity issues going on. So that means, 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. If you can strength train, doing the
What is
fiber.
Okay. Okay. Let me
Yeah.
ask you this. Like, what? Okay. Because, most of us listening to this podcast are like, first of all, what is a gram? And second of all, like, how do you know if you're getting 25 to 30 grams? Like, if you're not like, making yourself crazy and counting, like looking up on the internet, like, okay, green beans
Yeah.
have this many grams. And like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you know if you're getting enough?
That's a really good question. And, I don't think you're going to actually know unless you look it up or be intentional about portion sizes.
Okay.
Um, I encourage folks to be curious about this. And, if I know it's a lot to ask sometimes people to track their food intake. We're not looking at calories. We're just going to look at protein, fiber, and the micronutrients. And look at, okay, am I meeting my needs? Right.
Okay.
Um, there are also on the internet, you can look up like 30 grams of protein, 25 grams of protein, and it will spit out what that looks like. For instance, 30 grams of protein is a cup of cottage cheese, right?
Okay.
We
Okay. So
know,
it's like maybe more than you might be thinking. Like,
yeah,
maybe you need more food.
yeah.
Okay.
About a palm size amount. So it depends on how big your palm is, but that could be, 3 to 4 ounces of protein. So that could, be somewhere between 21, 30 grams of protein, just depends. Um, on, what else is in there, like the fat content. Um, so looking at, trying to eyeball things as well can be a good gauge. Um, flipping around and looking at that food, nutrient facts and that nutrient label. Something
Okay.
like
So we
Dave's
gotta do
Clo
a little like,
you gotta do a
we
little
can't
bit of
just bury
research.
our head in the
Yeah,
sand and be like,
no, no.
"Well, maybe I've magically met my requirements today." That's something I would
Yeah,
totally do. I would totally yeah, like, I would just be like,
yeah,
"Yeah, I'm good."
yeah.
Okay, like, let me make sure I understand correctly, Kate. So, okay, like, as we're getting older, heading into perimenopause, okay, so the estrogen's going down,
Mhm.
and that's kind of like what's kicking us into menopause. And so we're not having our periods and all of that. And then our cortisols are up. Also, we're probably not sleeping super well for any number of reasons:
Mhm.
elder care, child care, night sweats, cramping, pelvic floor. We just had 2 cups of caffeinated tea before bed.
Yeah,
I've never done that. And then we put on Netflix for 4 hours because we were stressed out and we started eating cookies and chips. And
right,
then like
yeah.
our what is it again? Our thermogenic what is it? Okay,
Alright,
thermogenesis,
non
non-activity,
non-activity non-exercise activity thermogenesis is the kind of
that goes
technical name of
down.
it. It goes down,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So we need to do what? We need to exercise, strength train, I'm guessing, so we
Yeah,
can get some
just work
resistance.
on work on getting that knee up, walking, being more intentional about, um, maybe having a standing desk, doing squats every, hour, 8 squats every hour. There's some great benefits to that. It's like equivalent to walking in 30 minutes. So if
Yes,
you
I'm
were,
going to start
yeah,
that right now.
right
Okay, go
now,
ahead.
yeah, like if you can stand that transition, like, and build that as a habit. Um, but yeah, so, NEAT typically makes up that non-exercise activity thermogenesis typically makes up 15 to 30% of the amount of calories we burn in a day. So if we're not, doing the fidgeting, um, doing those little extra things we do throughout the day, then that really goes down
Okay.
a lot more than what people anticipate.
Yeah, I agree. I think like sleep is something that's super undervalued, especially in our like, I don't know, like capitalistic production base, like very like we must be, I don't know what's the word we must achieve or we must
Yeah,
just keep
do.
going. Yes,
That
just do
do
do do do
mentality,
do do do.
do.
And yeah. Although not going do do, which we
Yeah,
talked about earlier, which is so funny. But
yeah.
keeping going, and never letting our bodies restore. And
Mhm.
then there's something in the culture about feeling guilty about like that, like that we should
Yeah,
just be like machines and robots that should be able to continue to go.
right,
And
yeah.
then, and yet, at least I've noticed when I push too hard or I've worked, consistently for 3 or 4 days on a project that's taking a lot of my time or whatever it may be, I find that my productivity actually dips. I can't think and I'm
Mhm.
getting brain fog and I'm craving sugar. And to your point, the last thing I want to do, this girl does not want to go see Lizzie Zima at Grit Fit Studio, which you guys need to see her for resistant training. I want to sit on my butt and watch, what was I watching the other day? Not Housewives. I don't know. See, I can't even tell you. It's like stuff like that, that you're like,
Yeah.
why am I even watching this? Like, what
Mhm.
is it? And you don't even know. But you're just like so brain foggy and hormonal and all of that, you
Mhm.
can't get off your booty. And then to your point, like who's doing laundry or who's like taking their dog for a walk? You're just
Yeah.
not. So I think protecting sleep is huge. And then good
Yes.
sleep hygiene is
Mhm.
huge. Thanks so much for tuning into today's episode. Be sure to join me next time for my 2-part conversation with Dr. Kate Dwyer, where we'll dive even deeper into understanding blood sugar and gut health, the interplay of hormones and stress, and Kate's top nutritional strategies for hormone health. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone you know who could benefit from the conversation. And remember, you can also watch the video versions of all my podcasts on YouTube. Just search @IHealKids.